There's a moving truck. There's a moving pod. There's a moving truck.
Living apartments that cost like $2,000 a month should be fucking illegal, because why is it that they expect you to make 3 times the rent, which comes out to like $6,000, but most people don't even make that in an entire month? An apartment shouldn't be a luxury.
Since I grew up, apartments $2,000, but when I was 13, they were only $500. My mom was living out in Lehigh for $550 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Now all of a sudden, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is fucking $2,500, and how y'all expect me to pay for that? The debt to income ratio is still the same, so why is the rent so fucking high? And y'all don't even own these buildings either, so what you charging me all this money for? I know your mortgage is not that high on it. That's just like back in the day, if you had bad credit, or let's say you just had broke a lease on an apartment, you can go get an apartment. You go talk to Mr. John, and Mr. John gonna help you, him and Miss Mary. Nowadays, they said, man, fuck you, go to court. They said you better go to the courthouse and try to get that eviction expunged off your record. Are you serious right now? And then they wonder why everybody's staying at home with their mama. You judging the bitch because they at home with their mama. What am I supposed to do? I'm sorry that I'm 21 with no credit and they don't want to let me get no place. It's not my fault. The criteria is a lot harder now than it was back in the day. Back in the day, if you had $1,500, you was in a house. Point blank, period.
Well, the economy isn't that bad.
Okay, being 21 with no credit, I'll give you that. But when did eviction come into the equation? She said an eviction. No, ma'am. That's a red flag all the way across the board. There's no getting around that. So we got to address that. Now, I agree. Man, prices for apartments and just for living in general has gone up extraneously. And what people are getting paid hasn't gone up that much. Like she was saying, her mom was paying $500 for an apartment. And I would argue that wages haven't really improved. Well, let me take that back. It depends on what you're into. It depends on what you get into. But even now, I feel like it's starting to kind of go back post-COVID. Before COVID, or during COVID, I think wages, especially in certain sectors, certain fields, certain companies like tech, that type of thing, wages were up really high, really in a really good place. Now those are even starting to correct as well. So just all in all, yeah, I agree. Wages haven't gone up in proportion to what things cost. I remember my first apartment. I think my first apartment was like $725 a month. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you can find anything, a 1-bedroom for that much anymore. If you do, you're going to be, because I wasn't in a bad neighborhood. I was actually in a really nice neighborhood. And I don't think you can do that anymore. Y'all, before we get into the next clip, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
Crisis isn't that bad. You have homeless coworkers. It doesn't matter if you're working in finance. It doesn't matter if you're working a retail job. I can almost guarantee you that you have homeless coworkers, because 40 to 60% of homeless people are employed and rent is unaffordable. Look at the numbers here, okay? The minimum cost of a 1-bedroom apartment in the US is around $1,500. And a lot of states, you're really lucky if you could get that, okay? $1,500. You need to make 3 times the rent. $4,500 a month. That is $28 an hour. $28 an hour in the US is like the baseline bare minimum living wage. But our federal minimum wage is
$7.25 an hour.
You know what $7.25 an hour gets you working full time?
$1,160
a month. The minimum for an apartment, again, remember?
$4,500 a month.
And we're not even factoring in taxes into all of this shit. I don't care what your job is. There is no reason that anyone working 40 hours a week, slaving their life away, should not be able to at least afford a fucking 1-bedroom apartment. And if you're defending that shit, you're part of the problem.
Okay, so
Yeah, he said he's not even factoring taxes. One thing I do want to clear up, when you are having to make the 3 times the rent or whatever, that does go off your gross and not your net. So gross means before you get taxed. Net is what you actually take home after tax. So when they're looking at your W-2 forms, or your payroll forms, they're all looking to just see that you make it before you get taxed, gross. So if that helps a little bit, but like you said, it's still steep. It's still not that easy to make that much in proportion to just how things have improved or have went up in price.
I'm apartment hunting. I find this listing okay, pretty cheap, like for a room, whatever. Toronto, like nice kitchen. Let me scroll. Okay, looks nice. Is that a mattress though? Like, what is that? Oh, is that a wall? Is that, what is that? Oh, that's my room. That's what you're paying for. $750 to be in the middle of the like room. Like what? This is what it looks like if you're when you close your door. Like when you want to be by yourself, this is what it looks like. And they even say, where is it? Like fully furnished, very bright and sunny, and comfortable. Yeah, it's really bright and sunny, bros, because you're taking up half of the, like, what?
I'll put my 60-day notice in this raggedy ass apartment because my rent went from $1,300 to $1,500. They're charging me $1,628 this month. I'll put my 60-day notice in. I'm not staying here. So they mad. And their policy is that you only have to pay your last month's of rent. Why are they charging me $2,600 to move out?
Did you
I'm
put your
still
60
moving
day
out. I
notice
don't know
in?
where they're gonna get the money from. They gonna
Oh
figure it
no.
out, but gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm not even gonna lie, rent so high. I'm about to go pick up.
So I'm trying to understand. Did she put the 60-day notice in? Yeah, get up out of there. But yeah, I mean, typically in a contract, you got to put in 2 weeks, 2 months notice when you're ready to leave, so that they can start getting somebody else in there. And yes, that this is what's happening a lot too. It's like the storage unit method, right? If you've ever bought a storage unit, you buy the storage unit. Usually they're super cheap when you buy it and when you sign that first year contract. And they want you to move all your junk in there, and they want you to fill it up, and then they want you to ideally be planning to leave your stuff there for a long time, because then what they'll do is they'll raise your rent price of your storage unit astronomically. And who feels like moving a storage unit? There's no satisfaction in moving a storage unit. At least when you move from one place to another, there's like that sense of victory, sense of satisfaction once you see your new place and you got all your stuff there. Moving a storage unit is just ish all the way across the board. But now apartments are doing that, and they're doing it after the first year, which is like, what the F? And then it's funny because now you see why, you know, living expenses are increasing at a much faster rate than people's wages. Because from what I see, people aren't getting raises every year. And if they get raises every year, it's usually cents on the dollar. It's not anything significant. It's not a significant margin or a significant percentage or ultimately a significant proportion. But when you look at what they raised her rent, I think she said from 1,300 to like 1,600. That's a significant percentage that they just raised it. And so ideally, you would want the wages to reflect that. But then you got to wonder, like, what happens if they just keep doing that? Things can get out of control. So I think that needs to be monitored and regulated a little bit more. But at the same time, it's an open market. People can charge what they want for their stuff. So I don't, you can't really knock it too much.
A shift at the leasing office. I'm about to cover their Saturdays because rent is about to blow us out the country. I heard that they be getting discounts when they work at the leasing office. If you ask me, a part-time job as a leasing agent don't sound too bad. Because when I think about it, I really was sitting on the most amount of money when I was a resident advisor in college. When I didn't have to pay for room and board, when I tell you that money was so fat, boy, that check, that refund, that money from them jobs was so fat. Don't even get me started. And I just genuinely feel like if you can find a way to finesse and really get ahead by not having to pay for living, ain't no way you ain't balling out. And I get everybody's situation is different. I'm not trying to say that and tell people what they should do or whatever like that. I'm just giving my opinion for all the comments and the internet warriors. But like, think about it. If I could really pull that off, keep my same career, pick up maybe 1 to 2 shifts every now and then at a leasing office and get free or discounted rent.
I seen a creator on here talking about.
Nah, you would probably have to work there part time. I mean, full time, baby girl. And I don't like the optics of that. Here's what I mean. I don't know if I would want to give my job that degree of leverage over me to where it actually extends to where I lay my head. For one, now your life is a little bit more visible to them, right? As well as what happens if they fire you or you quit? What's in the stipulations then? Let's just say if you quit, what now? You got to get up and leave in 30 days, 60 days? Then what? Right? So, what do you think that can trickle down to? Now they can do you any which way that they want to. They can talk to you any which way. They can tell you they can get put whatever expectations on you because they know that your shelter is tied to it. I wouldn't call it the golden handcuffs. I think it's far worse. I think that's you don't want to give your employer that much leverage. They already have the leverage as far as you being able to feed your family and make a check. Now you're giving them the leverage over your shelter too. Just make sure you have some type of leverage, some type of value that's not easily replaceable in the situation. I would argue a leasing office worker is not that hard to replace. So I just feel like the leverage is too one sided. I wouldn't want to get into that. I wouldn't want to adopt that. See, like a maintenance man, for example, would have far more leverage. They wouldn't be as easy to replace. As well as, I mean, most maintenance men is gonna take the money that you know leasing company is willing to pay, and then do all the jobs that's required. Because you gotta to be a maintenance man, you gotta be a plumber, you gotta be an electrician, you gotta know how to do HVAC, you gotta be able to help with the renovations. There's so many things that you have to do, as well as you're doing all these things. And let's be real, that's what sweetens the deal for them. Just getting, they'll usually get a free apartment. So that's why they just kind of deal with it. They get paid and they get a free apartment. Now that's golden handcuffs because they also have leverage in the situation. It's not as easy to replace somebody that's just got all these handy skills in such a multifaceted way and can just figure things out. And you can pretty much just have them just doing all type of different jobs around the complex.
People need to stop moving and bouncing around. That's why the rent high. Just renew your lease, like all this other stuff. But let me give you the perspective of a mover, right? I've had 5 apartments in the last 5 years. Let me tell you why. In one of
Yeah,
my apartments, my lease was up. They sent me a renewal offer. They said your rent's going up $150. I said, why? Nothing has changed in this place. If anything, it should go down. Like all the damages I've caused in here and my kid. So, but it's going up. They said, yeah, the market, blah, blah. The market. Okay. Do my research. I pull up the website. There's a unit next door available. Same layout, same floor plan, same style. And there's no new renovations. $200 cheaper than what I'm paying currently. Not the new rent. That would have been $350 cheaper. What I have now, it was $200 cheaper than that. But what's the catch? It's for new tenants, new business. Okay.
hmm
So I try to call them, try to figure this out. Hey, bro, by the way, can I just move in that one? Cause I'm gonna just move in there. It's $200 cheaper, same floor plan, same everything. We good, right? No, you actually have to pay a $500 transfer fee just to move units, and then on top of that, you don't get that new price, that new rent. That's only for new tenants. Since
that's
you're
bull.
an existing tenant, it would just be the same rent as your other place. Make it make sense. So then I said, you know what? Screw it. We gone. 60
Yeah,
days, here you
leave.
go. We out. I checked the apartment website. What do you know? The unit that I'm moving out of is now $200 cheaper for a new tenant. You see how that works? It's not us. It's the apartment complexes. It's the scam that they have going on. But this is the best part. When you pull up a new complex, they will have newer renovations and they'll give you 2 months free just because you're a new
Thank
tenant
you.
moving in. And your rent is going to be cheaper than the last place you stayed at. So
Yep,
while
yep.
moving costs and all of that sucks for sure, I hate doing that. In the long run, I have a
Oh yeah.
cheaper place, a nicer place, and 2 months free. So that is why I move around. It's not our fault at all. It's the apartment's fault. It's the apartment industry.
Things are becoming
Smart man. See, ladies, get you a man. Get you a man. Very ingenuitive. Very creative. Because let me tell you something. I like the way that brother thinks. He said he's moved 5 times in the last 5 years. And he's been taking advantage because they're taking advantage of you. They're basically flexing their leverage on you and then trying to hold you to their rules, their policies that they made up. Oh, well, yeah, it doesn't apply to you because, oh, okay. Y'all, those are your bargaining chips. Your bargaining chips is your willingness to be able to say, well, this doesn't work for me, so I'm taking my money elsewhere. And then watch what happens. That could be possibly how you get them not to raise your rent by you telling them that you're going to move and then see what they'll do because it'll still cost them more to have to re-renovate your apartment and get it prepared for somebody new. But most people just aren't willing to move because it could be laziness or it could just be they just got a lot going on. They got a lot of kids, a lot of whatever. But if you're willing, like you said, not only can you find something cheaper, because a lot of times we talk about, oh, you need to make these cuts. You need to make these cuts whenever people are talking about personal finance. Yes, I feel like when people even move up in life, you shouldn't allow lifestyle creep to set in. You should still be looking at, okay, I got a raise, I get paid more, I got a promotion, but where still can I cut instead of just increasing your lifestyle and spending? Because look what that brother did. He goes and finds places that they give 2 months free. Most places will give you at least 1 month free, 1 month free, along with some other, benefits and perks that you can get. Let's be honest. 1 month free rent will pay for your whole move right there, and you don't even have to touch nothing. 1 month free. But that's if you just go the conventional route and you just get, a major moving company or whatever. You can still be very savvy. You could probably find some movers on Craigslist that'll move your stuff for $500 total. Tip them another 100, and then you can still keep the other half. Now let's talk about if it's 18 months, or excuse me, a 2 month that they'll give you free because a lot of places are doing 2 month free now. That's the play. Let me tell you something, y'all. If you're living in apartments, I shouldn't hear you complaining about your job not giving you a Christmas bonus. That's your Christmas bonus right there. Let me explain. Especially if you can move your stuff by yourself. Let me tell you something. You get a U-Haul truck, you ain't gonna spend more than $300 in total, all in all, for a nice size U-Haul truck. If you move your stuff by yourself, let's just say uh you were paying 1,800, now you're moving to a $1,500 apartment, but they're giving you 2 months free rent. We're not even going to count the $600 you save by going cheaper, which that'll pay for the move in itself, just you downgrading your apartment. Let's just say now you're pocketing that 1,500. Let's just say the $600 you're paying cheaper, that just covered your move and you still came out $300. But let's just act like that doesn't exist. Now, that $1,500 that you don't have to pay for 2 months, that's $3,000 you just put back in your pocket. That's a huge bonus for the year. Really think about that. It can be lucrative to move in today's environment. So take advantage of that. These are the little ways where I say you have to be a little savvy out here. You don't have to make the most money in the world. You just got to use a little common sense, use a little critical thinking, and be ingenuitive and be savvy. And there's still ways you can get ahead, and you have to be willing and you have to be resourceful. See, like I said, those are his bargaining chips. He recognized that, and he's resourceful with his leverage. You've got to be very lean. You got to be very efficient. You got to be very resourceful in today's day and time. And you have to look for ways where you can get ahead. And then, like I said, that Christmas bonus, that $3,000 Christmas bonus that he just created for himself, you still need to take at least half of that and invest it. Put it away. Don't go blow it on a trip. And that's how we got to start thinking. That's how we got to start moving. That's how we got to start operating. Y'all, we're going to leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second. It actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button, then it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we get more points per hype. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.